Well, hello everybody. How are you? Good to be here. And today is 31st of October and it's Friday, last day of the month of October. And happy Halloween to everybody if you celebrate it. Here in the UK, it's become pretty big now. Obviously, it's caught on from the celebrations from the US of A over here now, and there'll be lots of kids running all over the place tonight in fancy dress, etc. Luckily, I live on the boat, so not much happens as far as that is concerned. Anyway, let's bring you up to date. As far as your OES is concerned, there's no new update there as at the moment. Um, all I can say is that there is things happening in the background, and obviously that will all be updated very soon. Okay, so keep your eyes peeled, and obviously as soon as we got the information, we shall bring it to you. As far as what I wanted to talk to you today about is really to try and help you understand about the rollout of Victory with Ash and what our CEO was talking about in the last webinar, etc., of how the strategy of it is so very important. And that's what I want to talk to you guys today about, is that strategy isn't always visible, okay, especially in business. Okay, sometimes the best strategy is really not showing your hand. Okay, so it really is important that we understand that things are done in a strategic manner, right, for the benefit of everybody. Remember what our CEO has said about Victory with Ash. Whether you are number one, whether you are number a million, it makes zero difference to you in Victory with Ash. If you have been a good person and you haven't brought the company into disrepute, everybody will be onboarded into Victory with Ash, but it is being rolled out in a very much strategic manner. Okay, and this is where we ask everybody for patience. Okay, whilst this is starting to roll out, and people will be onboarded in due course. So let's look at strategy then. Isn't always visible. This is basically a profound observation. Strategy often operates beneath the surface and manifesting in a subtle way rather than an explicit declaration or in a tangible saying. What's that mean in English? When somebody or a company set out their strategy of how they're going to do something, they don't put it up in banners. They don't let the world know. This is something that they have thought about over a long period of time, of what is the best strategy for everybody of how we're going to do this. Okay, this is the mindset of a company, the mindset of a businessman or an entrepreneur or anybody who is putting a strategy into place. How am I going to implement this so it's the fairest way, but it's also the best way that we are going to handle the volume, how we are going to make sure that we are getting everybody verified in the right way, that everything is done very much strategically so that everybody gets in to where they're meant to be. I've used the example many times and I'm going to use the same example again. Think of Victory with Ash as a massive, great big stadium. Okay, it holds millions of people, but there is only one turnstile that you can get into Victory with Ash through. Okay, there's only one way in. So all of these thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that are all trying to get into the stadium, guess what? You can't get them all in at the same time. Everyone has to have their ticket validated. Everyone has to literally show their face to make sure that they are right to be able to go into that stadium. This is exactly the same. So it is a bit of a bottleneck, rightly so. You cannot get physically everybody in at the same time. So there needs to be a strategy in place that is fair for everybody so that we can then funnel through into the stadium, i.e., victory with Ash. So some of these strategies are obviously invisible. We can't see them. These are the behind the scenes ones. And a company's strategy might be evident not in a grand announcement, but in a series of quiet, deliberate operational adjustments and allocations of key guides for their people along the way. It's also interesting that strategy is something to do with you as well, a personal development. It might be an internal commitment that you've had as well to continuously learn, for instance, or emotional discipline of what you are trying to do. It's a non-physical framework for decision making that guides actions and reactions on a daily life basis. You can have as well your own strategy for yourself behind the scenes. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a business one. I'm sure that many people who are watching this right now have their own strategy of what and how they are envisaging things to happen. And that is really, really good. There is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Having a strategy means that you are thinking, it means that you are proactive with what you are trying to do and achieve. Sometimes as well, the absence of action is choosing not to act. Okay. I know that might sound a little bit Irish, but sometimes the best strategy is actually not to act on things that happen around you. Sometimes, for instance, market volatility, competitors doing something. Sometimes your best strategy is not to have a knee-jerk reaction to certain things. You know the expression, time for level heads. This is exactly what this means. Sometimes taking a step back is actually a strategic strategy that is not necessarily visible, but it certainly helps within your business if you are more inclined to evaluate something rather than do something off the cusp of something else happening. This deliberate restraint is a strategy in motion, but it produces no visible results. Hence, strategy isn't always visible. Also, a strategy for building a specific type of organizational culture, trust, innovation, loyalty. This isn't in a document. This isn't something that you can actually physically write down and people can read. It's the sum of everyday interactions that we all have that, to be honest, it is part of our daily routine. It has its own reward system involved as well, and it certainly is embedded with leadership behaviors if you are having that culture within your business. These are difficult to pinpoint individually, but as a whole, as a collective, they are clear and it's impactful on its approach. And also, strategy is also for the long game. When companies are looking at their initial strategy of how they're going to do things, they're not looking at a week's time or a month's time or 6 months' time. They're looking at the whole big game, the long game of what is going to be best for the business. And this is where certain strategies only become apparent in years or even decades time, because they weren't apparent at the time that they were implemented in that short term, but that decision to make it at that time has a huge impact in the long game of the business. So in essence, really, strategy is a conceptual blueprint for how to achieve an objective. I.e., I gave you the example, hundreds of thousands of people trying to get into a stadium through one barrier. Each one of these people have to be looked at, verified, and said, yes, you can come in. The next one, looked at, verified, yes, you can come in. To make this a seamless, easy process, there has to be a strategy in place. This is where we are right now with Victory with Ash. That strategy has been implemented. We've been told about it. The first wave, the priority position people, they are the first to be onboarded into Victory with Ash. Guess what? There's going to be a second wave of people, and those too will be onboarded into Victory with Ash. That is a strategy that we have and we know right now. Why? Because that is the only information that we have been told from our CEO. That is what we know. Past that, we haven't been told, but we have been told that the vast majority will be onboarded into Victory with Ash. Every single person that enters Victory with Ash will have exactly the same level, exactly the same access to everything that is involved within it. There is no number one. There is no number 101. There is no number 1,000,001. Everybody is exactly the same. We will all get the same training. We will all get the same information, and that is going to be within Victory with Ash. So please remember, guys, this is strategically done. This is not because I know you, you're going to be there and all the rest of it. That is not how it is going to be at all. There is no leadership. There is no hierarchy. There is no preferential or anything like that. No timestamp, no nothing. Okay. Everybody will have their turn. Everybody will be able to get into Victory with Ash. There's a lot of noise around at the moment. There shouldn't be, but unfortunately there is. Stay calm, stay very excited, but also make sure that you keep logging into your OES, into your back office, okay, and that you will get the right information from there. Obviously, those that do lives like I'm doing now and others as well, we will obviously try and bring you information when we know it, but there is also a lot that we cannot say because our CEO has told us I'm only going to divulge it within Victory with Ash. And this is all part of the pruning of people to make sure that we adhere to what we are expected to do within Victory with Ash. And if you do not know what is expected of you within Victory with Ash, you can actually find out now. Everybody can find out. Log in. Well, not log in, sorry. Open up victorywithash.com. Right at the bottom on the left-hand side, there is a tab that says Code of Conduct. You can read that. And that is the code of conduct that is expected of you when you go into Victory with Ash. Okay? So you do know what is expected of you. It is there in black and white, and you can read it prior to your entry into it. Anyway, guys, that's it for me today. Over the weekend, obviously, don't normally do any lives, but if something pertinent comes up, I shall jump on. Otherwise, it'll be back around on Monday, and I'll also bring you something else to ponder. That's it from me, guys. Have a wonderful Halloween tonight if you celebrate it. Okay. Remember, no one's going to get left behind. Okay. That is the bottom line. It's just a strategic process of how things are being rolled out and people are being onboarded. That's it from me. Bye for now.